Hello everyone, today I am doing Partner Commander with Akiri, Line Slinger, and Bruse Boorish Herder for just some Boros equipment. If we look at it, we have Akiri, who is a 2-mana 0/3 with First Strike and Vigilance, but she gets +1/+0 for each artifact we control. And we also have Bruse, and basically, when he enters the battlefield or attacks, target creature you control gains double strike and lifelink to the end of turn. So basically, our game plan is to play Akiri and put a ton of equipment on her. Then we play Bruse because he enters the battlefield. We're going to give Akiri double strike and lifelink, as well. She's going to have keyword soup from all the other equipment and whatever on her. And then we attack with Akiri to hit people for a lot. That's the general game plan. Short, sweet, and to the point. It's basically just Boros equipment. Let's get to it. So for Planeswalkers, we have Duretti Scrap Savant, 4 mana. You plus them, discard 2, then draw that many cards. Just good card draw. Then we have -2, sacrifice an artifact. If you do, return an artifact card from your grave to the battlefield. That's basically just a good way to get back our equipment if someone blows up like good pieces that we want. We're not really going to worry about his emblem, but if we do, we win the game. Whenever an artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Actually, I don't think we win the game. I think it just makes it so our opponents never want to pop our equipment, and it's probably not even like that worth the ultimate. I think we're usually just using him for draw and recursion. Anyway, enough on him. Now we have Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients, 4 mana for loyalty. You plus her, you make a white core, but the important part is you may equip a equipment you control to it. That's a big deal because we're going to have a lot of equipment with high equip costs. Then we minus her. Look at the top 6 cards of our library. It's going to say we're going to reveal an equipment from them and put it in our hand. It's just like you dig 6, get the best equipment. We're not playing warrior tribal. I don't even know if we have any warriors. I put the creatures in, but I didn't pay attention to creature types. And then her minus is she deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment we control. We're not really banking on that. We're mainly using her for her -2 and her +1, but it is good removal if we do need be. Next, we have other Nahiri. Nahiri the Lithomancer. 5 mana. She can be your commander, but won't be ours. Basically, kind of same thing as the other one. You make a 1/1 white core, and then you attach an equipment to it. And then we have her -2. Just get the equipment from your graveyard or from our hand back on the field. It's good recursion, and if we pay her for 5 mana, we can also just dump like a big costed equipment, And then if we can alter, we make a very good equipment. We make an indestructible equipped creature gets +5/+5 and has double strike with equipped 0. They're basically already swinging for basically 10. It is literally insane. Next, we have Ugin. We have a lot of artifacts. All those artifacts cost colorless mana, so just having them cost 2 less is pretty good. Then we can plus them, make some tokens, make them attack, beef them up with equipment if we want, or just let them block, so then we get extra card draw, or we just destroy a permanent that's 1 or more colors. So yeah, it's just good removal, but mainly we're just using them for the colorless cost 2 less. Let's go to creatures. So not our commander, we have Akiri, Fearless Voyager. 3 mana, 3/3, good rate. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. And then you can pay a white to unattach an equipment from a creature you control, and then tap it and make it indestructible. Now this is good because we're kind of playing Voltron. We have ways to get around it, but Akiri is basically going to be used to protect our Voltron target and as well, obviously draw cards. She's just good. She's protection. She draws cards. She's actually a very good Boros commander. She could be interchangeable with the other two, honestly. Then we have Arden, Intrepid Archaeologist. 2/2, 3 mana. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number, big word, any number of equipment or auras, not worried about auras, any number of equipment you control to target permanent or player. Extremely good. You can honestly interchange this card with Bruse if you'd like, now that I think about it. But it's basically just to take all of our equipment and just put it all into one big annoying thing and then let them deal with it. Next is Armored Skyhunter. 4 mana, flying 3/3. When it attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library and you may put an equipment from among them onto the battlefield. And if equipment is put on the battlefield this way, you may attach it to a creature and then put the rest on the bottom of your library. We got a lot of equipment. And it's fun because it's when he attacks. So when he does attack, right, we can just put that equipment on him we now get a beefier guy. But it's just to get equipment on the field. You know, we don't want to really waste a ton of our mana on our turn putting equipment into play. You know, so if we can cheese them in like that, even better. Armory Automaton. 3 mana, 2/2. When he enters the battlefield or attacks, put any number, or you may attach any number of target equipment to it. Extremely good card, right? He just comes into play and he becomes instantly large with a bunch of keywords, or it's when he attacks. You can switch him up however you like if you play any more. He's just a good Voltron target. We don't want to rely completely on Akiri. So we have a bunch of these kind of cards to kind of hold off, right? Because if Akiri keeps dying and dying, or Bruse keeps dying and dying, right, we want to be able to put all our equipment onto other things. Next, we have Aurelia the War Leader. 6 mana, 3/4, Flying Vigilance Haste. When Aurelia attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. After this, there's an additional combat phase. I think it's kind of self-explanatory, but we're a Boros deck. The main way, honestly, the only way we are going to win this game is by attacking with big equipment-filled creatures, right? And if we can do that more than once a turn, even better. Plus, you know, Flying Vigilance Haste, it's a good attacker. Bastion Protector. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2, and have indestructible. We have 2 commanders, and if we can make them indestructible on top of keyword soup, pretty good. Also, it's a 3 mana 3/3. Brunor Battlehammer. 4 mana 5/3. Each creature you control gets +2/+0 for each equipment attached to it. So it already makes our equipped creature stronger. Then you may pay 0 rather than pay the equip cost of the first equip ability you may activate each turn. Now this is very good because it just gives us a free equip. Like, we're going to have a lot of like equipment or like equip costs that cost a ton, right? And like we're gonna get, like, some of them are gonna be 3, but we can even see some as high as like 7, right? We don't want to pay that 7, so if we can just cheese it on really easy for no mana, that's also buffing our creatures that are equipped, he's a good one. Danitha Compassion, the Paragon. Legendary Human Knight, 3 mana 2/2, first strike, vigilance, lifelink, aura, and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less. She's good. She's a good Voltron target to put equipment on because she already has like 3 really good keywords, and she's a cost reducer. Short, sweet, to the point. Esper Sentinel, he's just kind of a staple. Boros doesn't have too much card draw, so we got to get it where we can take it. 1 mana 1/1 whenever an opponent casts the first non-creature each turn. Draw a card unless they pay X. So at best, you're drawing cards. At worst, it makes your opponents pay a little bit more. And the fun thing is if we do decide to beef him up, that X is his power, right? Some people usually just chalk it up to, it's like, oh, pay 1 or else I draw, but it's his power. So if we put our like weapons and swords or whatever on him, then like they're not gonna want to pay it, and we're gonna get even more card draw. Fervent Champion. 1 mana 1/1 with first strike and haste. When he attacks another target attacking knight you control gets +1/+0. That's not really relevant. I don't really think we even have any other knights. We might. Again, I didn't really think about the creature types because it's not tribal. But equipped abilities you activate that target him cost 3 less. Most equipped abilities are like 3, so very good. Gazella Blade of Gold Knight. 7 mana 5/5 flying first strike. If a source you control, well, you know what? Basically, your damage is doubled and damage dealt to you is halved. Short, sweet, and to the point. We attack, we deal lots of damage, now we deal double damage. Next, we have Godo Bandit Warlord. You've probably seen a ton of them, but he doesn't get too much play. He comes in a lot of precons. 6 mana, 3/3. When he enters the battlefield, search your deck for an equipment card and put it onto the battlefield. If you do, shuffle your deck. That's really why we're running him. However, because he's a hard tutor, whenever Godo attacks for the first time each turn, untap it and all samurai you control. After this, there is an additional combat phase. You know, we don't have any other samurai. You know, maybe knights and warriors I'm iffy, but I'm positive we don't have any other samurai, which is excellent, right? Because he essentially just gives us an extra combat. That's really it. That's really it. We get an extra combat. If our things, the only caveat is our things have to have vigilance, but we're usually going to give them keyword soup. We're mainly running them for a 6 mana body and a hard tutor that can sometimes give us extra combats. That's my reasoning. Now we have Halvar, God of Battle, and I included his flip because he's not that self-explanatory with his flip like other flip cards, and I'll talk about that in a second. 6 mana 4/4, or sorry, 4 mana 4/4, legendary god. Creatures you control that are enchanted or equipped have double strike. Well, if we play him as is, it's good. If we play him as a sword, it's fine. At the beginning of each combat, you may attach target aura or equipment you control to a creature you control. So, again, he's a free equip, and he gives your equipped creatures double strike. And it's interesting, right? Because he says at the beginning of each combat. So not just on your turn, right? Like someone else's turn. He can like swap over your equipment. So he's good as a creature. If you want to play him as a sword, he's a 2 mana, equipped 2. It gets +2/+0 in vigilance and has, when it dies, return it to its owner's hand. It's a great equipment. He's a great creature. It just hard synergizes with the deck. Kazul's Toll Collector. 3 mana, 3/2. Pay 0. Attach target equipment you control to him. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. So you can only do it at sorcery speed. However, if we have a ton of equipment, we can just attach it to him for free. It's really that easy. Yeah, our opponents can interact because it's like not really instant speed, but like it's a free equip, and he's also just like a 3 mana 3/2. Like it's not that bad as is, and if we can beef him up with all of our equipment, it's even better. All right, big heavy hitter creatures. Pure Steel Paladin, 2 mana 2/2. Whenever equipment enters the battlefield under your control, just straight up draw a card. Excellent. Metalcraft, which just means as long as you have 3 or more artifacts, equipment you control have equip 0. We're playing an equipment deck. There are 22 artifacts in this deck. So, he's going to help with draw, and he's going to give free equips, right? He's self-explanatory, you know. You gotta love him. You gotta love him. SRAM Senior Artificer. 2 mana 2/2. Whenever you cast an equipment, draw a card. He's short, sweet, to the point. He's not broken by any means. It's just whenever you cast an equipment, draw a card. He's a little bit of an engine. The infamous Stoneforge Mystic. 2 mana 1/2. When it enters the battlefield, search your deck for an equipment card and put it into your hand. Then you can pay 2 mana and tap it. You may put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now, for all of you Legacy, Modern, whatever, you usually get a little Batterskull. We're not running Batterskull in this deck. It's because it's just high costed, and we don't really care about Living Weapon because we have so many free equip spells. So, no Batterskull. A little bit of a spoiler. Final creatures, Stonehewer Giant, 5 mana vigilance, 4/4. Tap him, pay 2 mana, tap him, search a library for an equipment, put it on the battlefield, and attach it to a creature you control, and then shuffle your library. You can do it as an instant. It's really great. Then we have Sun Titan. Now, he doesn't hard synergize with really anything, but a lot of our equipment and artifacts and everything cost less than 3, so the fact that he can just recur our small creatures and our equipment, he's good. Plus, he has this like a 6 mana 6/6 with vigilance. It's not even, honestly not even that bad of a target for a Voltron. Next, we have Zerta the Dawnmaker. 3 mana 3/3. We're not using as a companion. Abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. This effect can't reduce its mana cost to less than 1 mana. So basically what that says is our equip abilities cost 2 less, right? At the very minimum, they cost 1, but they cost 2 less. That is a big deal, right? Because a lot of the swords have like equip 3s or equip 2s or whatever, and even the higher costed ones have like equip 7, equip 6. Just cranking those down is great. And plus, just you can make a creature not be able to block if they have a good blocker for our little aggro deck. We got a couple sorceries. Divine Reckoning, 4 mana. Each player chooses a creature he or she controls, destroy the rest. So we're basically just going to pick our most beefed out creature. That's really it. We pick our most beefed out creature, and then we destroy the rest. Well, everyone else gets to pick their own, but again, we get to leave our Voltron guy alive. Next, open the armory. Just short, sweet, simple. 2 mana. Search your deck for an aura or equipment. Reveal it. Put it in your hand. It's just you just get an equipment. That's really it. You just get an equipment you like for 2 mana. Next, Rip Apart. 2 mana. Choose one. It deals 3 damage to a creature or planeswalker, or you can destroy an artifact or enchantment. It's just good. You know, if you need to deal with a creature or planeswalker, go for it. If you need to pop an artifact or enchantment, go for it. I actually, you know, I really like this card in Commander. I think it's pretty good. Slash the ranks. Destroy all creatures and planeswalkers except for commanders. We have 2 commanders, so ideally it's a nuke and we get to keep 2 things. Next, we have Steel Shaper's Gift. Search your deck for an equipment card, reveal it, and then put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. It's just better than Open the Armory, because it's just solely equipment. We're not running any auras. Auras, though, would be probably better for Open the Armory. Vandablast, it's easy. It's a red mana to destroy an artifact, or it's 5 mana to destroy all artifacts you don't control. Beautiful. Let's look at instants. Now, I want to talk with these in regards to a little spoiler of a card we have, Sunforger. Sunforger is an equipment that lets us cast instants and sorceries from our deck. So, Sunforger is going to hit most, if not all, of these. Boros Charm deals 4 damage to a target player. Permanents you control get indestructible, or target creature you control gains double strike. Very good, right? We're not really using it for the burn damage, but if someone decides to nuke the field, right, we're protected. Or we can just go in for a kill by giving like our most beefed out creature double strike. Very good. Chaos Warp, just get rid of something you don't like, and you better pray something something worse doesn't come through. The owner of target permanent shuffles it into his or her library, then reveals the top card of his or her library. If it's a permanent card, he or she puts it onto the battlefield. So ideally, right, you get rid of something very problematic and something you really don't like, right? And on the flip side, right, hopefully you just give your opponent a land. It's a good trade-off. Chaos Warp is an excellent card. Dispatch, 1 mana, tap target creature. But really, if you have 3 or more artifacts, you exile that creature. We're playing an equipment deck. We have 22 artifacts in our deck, right? More often than not, we're probably gonna have this just be a straight up 1 mana exile target creature. Enlightened Tutor. Search your library for an artifact or enchantment card and put it on top. It's pretty much it, right? We get the best artifact or enchantment card. It tutors an equipment, and we do have a handful of, not a handful, maybe just a few enchantments. Generous Gift, 3 mana, destroy a permanent, they get an elephant. You know, I'm sure you'd much rather have them have a 3/3 elephant than whatever you just blew up. Path to Exile, 1 white, you just get rid of a creature, exile a creature, and they get a basic land tapped. It's pretty good, right? Sajari Shelter, bleh. 2 mana, instant, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice. So if someone's just going to hard remove one of your things, you just make it protection. Or if you want to be able to crash through, right, and have your creature not be blocked by certain colors, you do this. Also, on the flip side, it's just a land that enters tapped. That's really it. Swords to Plowshares. It's just better than Path to Exile. Swords to Plowshares, 1 mana, exile target creature, they just gain life equal to its power. You know, that's really it. It's just a hard exile. I'd rather my opponent gain some life than get a land, for sure. Next, we have Teferi's Protection. Again, we're kind of on the Voltron plan, so if someone tries to nuke the board or does anything we don't like, we just pay 3 mana, and we don't exist until our next turn. That's it. We just don't exist, so we're a little bit protected from nukes and whatnot. Let's look at our artifacts. It's the big chunk of them. Arcane Signet. It's just a mana rock, 2 mana mana rock. Same thing with Boros Signet. It's just a 2 mana mana rock. Our first equipment, Argentum Armor. 6 mana, equipped creature gets +6/+6. Whenever equipped creature attacks, destroy target permanent. It's makes your creature big and chunky, and then it just gets rid of a blocker or a land, just anything you don't like. Your opponent's best permanent, you get rid of it on attack. Not damage, attack. Colossus Hammer. A 1 mana equipped creature gets +10/+10 and loses flying. Now, equip 8 is very high. However, we do have a lot of creatures and whatever that just puts our equipment onto creatures for free. Whether that be Pure Steel Paladin or whatever, right? We're never going to pay 8 mana to equip this Colossus Hammer, right? It's just going to make our creature +10/+10 and not fly. Embercleave, for all you standard fans in Eldraine, you love it, you hate it, but you usually just hate it. It's just game over. 6 mana, flash, costs 1 less for each attacking creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to a creature you control, and that equipped creature gets +1/+1, double strike, and trample, and equip 3. That's just a game ender. You know, it makes your thing large. It kills all the blockers you're dealing with, and you're just dealing a ton of damage. And it never costs 6 mana, like ever. Grafted Exoskeleton. 4 mana, equipped creature gets +2/+2 and infect. When it becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. So we're really never going to unattach Grafted Exoskeleton unless like we really need be. We really won't. But the fact that we can just give our biggest creature infect, especially with how large we can make a single creature, it can just end games real quick. Hammer of Nazan. When it Hammer or Nazan or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, attach it to target creature, and the equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has indestructible, right? So right away, right, you just pay 4 mana and you auto equip it to your commander or whatever your best creature is, right? And it's just +2/+0 and indestructible. And equip 4 is really not that bad for that kind of effect. Next, we have Cauldron Complete. I don't think we have any other living weapon card. Living weapon, it doesn't say, but all it really does is when this living weapon just says, when this card enters the battlefield, you make a 0/0 germ and attach this artifact to it. That's really it, right? So, Cauldron Complete enters as a 5/5 first strike, trample, indestructible, and haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a creature, exile that creature, right? We're not really focusing on having the germ attached to it. We're mainly just put this card in to attach it to our other stuff. But again, that's keyword soup, and hopefully we can cheese it in with cards like Nahiri or Stone Hero Giant. Lightning Greaves. 2 mana, equipped creature has haste and shroud. The shroud part is a little tricky, but mainly because we won't be able to equip our own equipment to it because it has shroud. But we can always, it has an equip 0, just take the shoes off, put another equipment on it, put the shoes back on, right? We're ready for combat. It gives them haste. It's a good card overall. Robe of the Stars. An interesting thing I thought for the deck. So it gets +0/+3, right? And then you can pay 2 mana to have the equipped creature phase out. So it just doesn't exist, right? It can't be targeted or removed, or it just doesn't exist, right? Until our next turn. So in my head, it's our opponent just tries to hard kill one of our big creature, and we just make sure it's not there, right? And equip cost 1's really not that bad. Standard Friends again for Shadow Spear. 1 mana equipment, it gets +1/+1 trample and lifelink. And then you can pay 1 to make permanent your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible, right? And it's only an equip 2. It's anyone that has played Thera Standard knows how insane this card is. Soul Ring, it's Soul Ring. I'm not going to talk about it. Run Soul Ring. Sunforger, we talked about a little bit earlier. 3 mana, equipped creature gets +4/+0. Then you can pay Boros, unattach it, which is weird, right? Unattach the equipment. Search your library for a red and white instant card with CMC 4 or less, which is all of them, right? And then cast it without paying its mana cost. And then it has equip 3. So in theory, right, we can just pay 2 mana, unequip this artifact, and then just cast an instant or sorcery from our deck. Very good. Next, we got Sword of Feast and Famine. It is a 3 mana artifact with equip 2. It gets pro black and green and +2/+2. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, they discard a card and you untap all lands you control. We like untapping all lands we control, and just also giving it +2/+2. They're all going to give it +2/+2, but pro green and black is very big, making it not be targeted by big removal colors and not be able to be blocked by like death touch creatures. Sword of Ice and Fire, right? It does the whole sword thing, and it's red and blue. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to any target, and you draw a card. So it deals damage, you shock, and you draw. It's pretty good. Obviously the best part about these swords are the pro colors, except for Feast and Famine with the untap all land. Again, it's good evasion, and it really helps us out. Sword of Light and Shadow, right? Does the whole sword thing, but for white and black. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life, and you may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a little bit of reanimation. Sword of Vengeance. It's not a sword of whatever and whatever. It's a Sword of Vengeance. 3 mana. The equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has first strike, vigilance, trample, and haste. That's a lot of keywords for just an equip 3. We got Sword of War and Peace. It does the whole sword thing except from red and white, and when it deals combat damage to a player, it deals damage equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life for 1 card for each card in your hand. So it kind of punishes your opponents for having big hands, and it benefits you for having a big hand as well. It's just a good card. It's good evasion. Sword of the Animist. 2 mana, equipped creature gets +1/+1 whenever it attacks. Search your deck for a basic land card and put it into play. Tapped. That's it. It's just good ramp. Talisman, it's just a 2 mana rock. You know, it's no big deal. And then our final artifact, I think it is at least, Umezawa's Jite. 2 mana, equipped 2. When an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put 2 charge counters on Jite. You may remove a charge counter from Jite to do one of the following. You can give it +2/+0, give a creature -1/-1, or you just gain 2 life, which is very good because you can either swing. People don't really want to block the creature with Jite. Honestly, they really just don't. Because they're either going to remove the charge counters and make Jite, the equipped creature, like +4/+4, or they're going to give that own creature -2/-2, right? You really only gain 2 life if someone's like, I'm going to destroy Jite. Like, that's like when you're gaining a bunch of life. But yeah, it just gives you, it gives them unfavorable blocks, like once you get any kind of charge counters on it. Let's look at enchantments. I'm pretty sure it's just these 3. Fighter class, 2 mana. When it enters the battlefield, search your deck for an equipment, put it in your hand. Very good, right? You can pay 3 mana to make your equip abilities cost 2 less to activate, so sometimes making it free, still very good. And then whenever a creature you control attacks, up to 1 target creature blocks it this combat if able, right? This is good if we need to kill our opponent's creatures, right? More often than not, we're only going to level it up to level 2, right? We're going to get our equipment, and then we're going to make our equip abilities virtually free, right? If we really need to kill a problematic creature and we have a big creature of our own, we can do this little 5 mana, or if we just need to get rid of a value creature our opponent controls. Sigarda's Aid. It's a 1 mana enchantment, which is kind of nuts. You may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash, and then whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to a creature you control. So no more equip cost. You just whip him into play at instant speed, right? It's nuts. It's nuts. Smothering Tithe. It's just good ramp. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they can pay 2. If they don't, we make a treasure. So let's look at lands. We are running 34 lands. I think 35 if you consider our 1 flip land. So we have 10 mountains and 13 plains. Really no reason that they're snow colored. I just like them. Look at our non-basics. Battlefield Forge, so you can get just a colorless if we need it, or we can get one or the other, all having it deal 1 damage to us. It's basically just an untapped duel without the, we got Clifftop Retreat. We're usually going to have a plains or a mountain, as we have 23 of them. So we can just, it'll come in untapped and it'll tap for a red or a white. Command Beacon is a little bit weird in my opinion. So it's odd when you have partners. It taps for a mana, but you can sacrifice it, put your commander into your hand from the command zone. This is really if Akiri or Bruse just cost way too much, right? Like we can get them in real quick and easy. Command Tower, because it taps for either or. Inventor's Fair is interesting because at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 3 or more artifacts, which we most likely will, you gain a life, right? Taps for a colorless, but we can pay 4 mana to sacrifice Inventor's Fair and search our deck for an artifact card, reveal it, and put it in our hand, right? We can only do it if we have 3 or more artifacts. So it's kind of an artifact tutor on land. We got Rugged Prairie just to filter if we need it. We have Sacred Foundry that'll come in untapped and deal some damage or whatever. It's just a shock land. Slayer Stronghold's kind of fun. Taps red colors, or you can pay Boris, tap it, target creature gets +2/+0 vigilance and haste. Very good just way to swing on in real quick. Spectator Seating, it most likely will enter untapped because when you build these kinds of decks, or at least when I build decks, I imagine I'm playing in a pod of 4 people, including myself, so I have 3 opponents. It'll enter untapped. Our final 2 cards, we have Temple of Triumph, enters the battlefield tapped, but it will scry 1. It's just kind of good deck advantage. And then Temple of the False God. This isn't like a super crazy, expensive deck. I think it totals out to be about $575, which, don't get me wrong, it's pricey. But, again, I think Temple of the False God is good for a 2-color deck. But thank you guys for watching. Remember to like the video, comment whatever you want, and subscribe, and tell me what deck you want me to do next. I'll just do it. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.